Hello, and welcome to this installment of our Industry Leadership Series. I'm Greg Pendy, a member of the SPAC and Disruptive Technology Equity Research Team at Chardan Capital Markets. As always, I'll start the call with an interesting note with some important disclosures. During this call, we will not be discussing Chardan research. Any discussions about research should be coordinated between a participant and their respective salesperson. Our compliance team has asked me to read this statement for the investor call. By participating in this call, our speakers attest that they have made Chardan aware of any potential conflicts, and they will not discuss any material, non-public, or confidential information that they are aware of that may breach their legal, regulatory, or fiduciary responsibilities to any parties. So with the disclosures out of the way, it's my pleasure to introduce Garrett Smallwood, CEO, Pet Chief Officer, and Chairman, as well as Adam Storm, President and Chief Product Officer. Garrett, thank you for joining us, and Adam, thanks for joining as well. So let's just get into, I guess, some big picture questions, and then delve later on in our discussion towards some recent events pressing the industry. Just from a big picture perspective, can you guys just talk about the global landscape and what you identify as the global megatrends that will shape the pet services sector over the next few years?
Absolutely. Greg, thank you first off, thank you for having us. Adam and I love this time together, so thank you. For those who don't know, I've known Adam since third grade, childhood best friends, and we've been at WAG together for 6 years. We took it public in August of 2023, or 2022, sorry. And we are the button on the phone for the paw. People love WAG. If you think about pets, it's been really it's been incredible to watch this transition. When I was a kid, we had a dog, and it had a house in the backyard. It ate kibble out of a bowl from Costco, whatever big box store it was, and it was the family dog. And now I have a dog, Toby. Toby sleeps in my bed. He eats human-grade dog food. He has different sweaters and outfits. He goes on road trips with us. He's like a member of the family. And as millennials and Gen Z and Gen X and whoever's next start delaying having kids, you've kind of looked at this population trend. People are waiting longer and longer to have the first kid. They're replacing that kid with a dog or a cat or a chinchilla or a pig or whatever it might be. And they frequently are turning to someone like a WAG to help manage that pet's life. So just a refresher, WAG is the platform of choice for things like on-demand dog walking. So you're stuck at the office, Greg, need to walk, foo-foo, we're here to help. It's things like one-on-one dog training. It's finding the perfect pet insurance product. It's wellness plans. It's anything and everything for your pet. And so really the trend is the humanization of pets and the sheer fact that 80 plus million US households now have 1+ dog or cats. It's crazy.
Yeah, no, I could definitely relate to the humanization trend with my own dog. So just, further expanding on that, how have you positioned WAG to prosper in this sort of environment where people are seeing a continuation of trend for humanization of their pets?
Yeah. Look, we really focus on, we call it premium pet parent. So I think you'd be considered probably pretty premium, Greg. You like nice outfits for your dog. We think about someone who's really thinking about their pet's health every day, what they're feeding them, how often they're bathing them, if they're cutting their nails, if they're going to the vet for the routine visit. All that stuff really matters. And that premium pet parent is pretty insensitive to the dollars they're spending on their dog or cat. Let me give you an example. The average WAG pet parent is booking 5 services a month with us. So it's 5 services a month every week that we're helping take care of their pet with a drop-in or a walk or sitting and boarding, whatever it is. They're frequently a WAG premium subscriber. They're paying $15 a month for exclusive benefits on the WAG platform. They're frequently buying pet insurance at $200+ a month. They're buying human-grade dog food at $250 a month. So we've really been focused on the premium pet parent, which we think is about 10 to 15% of US households of that kind of 80 to 85 million. And the second thing is we're focused on kind of capturing all the share of wallet. So we talked about this earlier, right? Your dog might have lived in the backyard eating kibble. Now they have lots of things you're buying for your pet. You're going to the vet frequently. You're buying prescription drugs. You're doing, premium dog food or kibble. You're doing, products. You're buying special leashes. You're doing all kinds of different things. We want to capture all that spend. We think that spend is in the thousands of dollars a year. And so our goal is really to become the destination of choice and then to capture all the share wallet.
That's very helpful. And then can you just kind of describe, I guess, the environment on how it's changed? Maybe take us through the pre-COVID and also what we're seeing post-COVID. We heard about a lot of adoptions that took place during COVID and kind of how that's carried forward.
Yeah, I still get like a little, I think Adam does too. We get a little PTSD thinking about COVID. Look, pandemic was not kind to us. We were not DoorDash. The last thing you wanted when you're living in your Soho apartment is to like have a dog walker come to your house. So when you're wearing a hazmat suit. And so for us, we had to quickly diversify the business. There's still this huge community of caregivers. As a refresher, there's 450,000 plus background check pre-approved caregivers in the WAG community across 5,300 cities in all 50 states. That's something like 96% population coverage. And they need something to do. So we quickly diversified into things like pet insurance. We operate the largest pet insurance marketplace in the US, wellness plans, dog food and treat advice, and everything else. And then what we've seen is since the pandemic ended, we've seen two mega trends. One is a lot of adoptions, and two is a lot of people figuring out what their pet needs for the first time when they're not at home. Right? Because when you're at home with the pet during the pandemic, you could feed them, you could walk them, you could talk to them, you could train them. And then the minute you have to go back to the office, or you have to travel, or you have to go on vacation, all that routine breaks down. They're realizing they need us now more than ever. And so the pandemic, kind of post-pandemic trends have been really nice. We've had this kind of slow and deliberate return to office, this slow and deliberate return to kind of pet spend. And I think we're going to pass this year at $144 billion to spend, Adam, in pets. I think that's up like 5x in 15, 20 years, something crazy like that. I don't know exactly, but the trends are just crazy. The dollars out the door are wild.
That's helpful. And then just can you describe, I guess, just the competitive landscape right now? I think you mentioned earlier in your comments, you're looking to get 100% wallet share of that premium pet parent spend, but just kind of just go over the, how people should be thinking about the overall environment.
Yeah, look, there's, for the services, offline services are majority offline. So it's like you find someone on Nextdoor, you find someone on Yelp, maybe you go to the boarding facility, but they're kind of like inconsistent and not particularly technology enabled, right? Like the WAG mobile app is delightful. Go to the App Store, it's got 50,000 reviews, they're 4.8 or 9. People love it. And you get real-time walk notifications, you get GPS tracking, you get locked door updates, you get photos and videos of your dog with cool overlay and music. It's a delightful, fun experience. And that versus like the neighborhood dog walker is just a whole different experience. A lot of people are still going to big box stores and experiencing pets there. They're going to the pet aisle and buying random products. And then kind of what's happening is the next generation is moving online and thinking a lot more about us and our brands like WAG and Maxbone and everything else. And then finally, there are other large marketplaces that exist. Yelp, is a good one. Craigslist, generally anything that shows up in Google, and we're competing, online for eyeballs. But what we found is that real serious pet parents want real serious pet care and pet advice and pet recommendations, and they want a platform that's what they do. So WAG is like the destination of choice for the people who are serious about their pet's health and well-being.
Right, that's very helpful. Let's delve into some company specific questions. Can you just describe the technology you mentioned? You have an app, and just what's unique about your approach, maybe even relative to like DoorDash and other people in a similar space with the pet parent versus pet caregiver. Sorry about that.
Perfect, Adam. That's all you love that.
Yeah, so I think that running this business for coming on 6 years now, you realize that the details matter a lot, right? If you have a Bichon Frise as opposed to two large huskies, you might need a very different caregiver for those two different pet archetypes. So we have intelligence on our back-end software to make sure that when you're getting matched with a caregiver, you're choosing a caregiver, we're surfacing caregivers who might have large dogs themselves, or might have demonstrated that they have the strength to walk two very eager huskies. So it's really about for whatever your need is, finding a perfect match. I think what Garrett said at the very beginning is really important. People think about their pets as their children. So there is not a lot of room for like, trust us, it'll be fine. We have to like nail every single aspect of the service. Your dog has been picked up, the walk just started, you have GPS tracking on the map, your dog just relieved themselves. One of the primary reasons that we walk dogs is because dogs need to get outside, they need to relieve themselves. And that's a point of anxiety for pet parents, making sure that happens. So we make sure that all the important stuff about your service being provided is communicated via the app. And if you think about what the offline experience is for a boarding facility or a neighborhood dog walker, they might be lovely people, but you have no idea what's happening. You're pretty much left entirely in the dark. You're just, well, it's 12 o'clock. I think that my dog walker is supposed to be here. You're walking my dog, not exactly sure. Hopefully they're tired when I get home from work today. So, it's really about nailing the details. If you compare it to some of these other best in class apps like DoorDash, I think that we really dog food our own products internally and make sure that, pet parents are getting that N+1 experience is great. And just to finally to kind of quantify what that looks like, across 12, 13 million reviews of services being completed on the platform, the average service rating is like 4.97 or 4.98. That means that you have to have like 1,000 5-star services for every possible time that something goes wrong, like you didn't fill the water bowl, you didn't fill the food bowl like was in the instructions. So we really have to nail it every time.
That's really helpful. And then can you just talk about, just the nature of your service, I guess. You basically need the process of you onboard a new customer, and the key challenge would be the required home entry that's inherent with this type of service. So just how have you dealt with that successfully over the past few years?
I'm surprised you haven't seen the lock boxes, Greg. We have lots of lock boxes. And we want to talk about home access in our welcome kit?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, I have one of those lock boxes actually. So, can you just kind of talk about that challenge, though? I guess the initial onboarding of a customer.
Yeah.
Yeah. So look, we look to solve whatever problem the individual pet parent has. So in New York, for example, it's one of the only geos in the United States where a lot of people have a doorman. So we have a in-app solution that really seamlessly handles the doorman situation. A lot of pet parents throughout the United States use our lockbox solution. So they might not be comfortable. If you're not in a really charming, birds chirping residential neighborhood where people leave keys under the mat, you might want something a little bit more secure, like the WAG lockbox solution. So if you want, we'll ship you a WAG lockbox. The key for the front door that facilitates the services in the lockbox. You can hide that lockbox wherever you want on your property. The WAG technology will make sure the caregiver knows where that lockbox is. Has a unique code for the service to be done. Takes the key, walks the dog. At the end of the service, we tell you that your front door is locked and your key is put back into the lockbox. So again, like it's really about the details and making sure that different pet parents. Whatever it is that they need, we can solve that problem. Be it doorman, be it the WAG lockbox, be it a personal lockbox, be it key under the mat, be it a digital lock. It's our job as technologists to solve that for you.
Great, that's helpful. And just over the past, I guess, recent results, we've seen some of the competitors in the pet space in general just cite weakness. Some areas like toys have been cited as weakness. How should we be thinking about how that might be impacting your business? I know you're more focused on services, so the walking and then seasonally the boarding side picks up, as well as insurance. But we have seen some areas of discretionary concern in the pet space.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, look, I think a lot of players that are public are signaling some level of softness or drawdown or trade down or whatever it might be, whatever language they want to use, or shrinkage even. For us, us being WAG, our job really is to be in the fastest moving water at any given time of pet spend. So during the pandemic, it was, I need to find the right pet. I need to adopt the dog. I need to find the right pet food. I need to find the right pet insurance plan. Post-pandemic, it seems to be, I need someone to watch my dog while I'm away. I need someone to take care of my dog while I'm going back to the office for the first time. It's, the spend is kind of moving. It shifts. It's maybe more daytime or overnight. It may be more, food and treats versus consumables. And so for WAG, we have lots of different brands and products in the portfolio to achieve that growth. We're going to be in the fast-moving water at any given time, spending and leaning in and capturing those eyeballs. But we're going to do it focused on the premium pet parent. Meaning, if you're buying $38 Purina at Costco, that's great. I mean, that's great for you. It's not great for WAG. We're not going to spend a lot of time thinking about that customer. If you're spending $142 every 6 weeks on Blue Buffalo, when you have a 7-year-old golden retriever and gets his teeth cleaned every 3 months, and has a perfect coat, and you love that dog more than anything in the whole wide world, and it sleeps in your bed, you're probably the perfect WAG customer. If you have an Apple Pay, if you have Peloton, if you have an Amex, you're gonna be thinking about us. And so those customers just generally, Greg, aren't thinking about, oh, I don't know this month, I don't know this week. They're just thinking about what's best for my pet, and they're less sensitive to maybe the macro environment or what's happening. And so we generally been really fortunate to be so focused on that customer and delivering their needs. For what's worth, we also think they have an outsized amount of spend. So there's $144 billion spent this year on pets. We think those 10 to 15% of premium households might be half of that, right? So we think that they're going to, a lot of the dollars are going to flow through them, frankly.
Got it. Okay, thanks for that. That's helpful. And then can we just talk about the business model, the operating leverage? I think 3Q results marked your second straight quarter as a public company of adjusted EBITDA profitability. So can you talk about, plans to further scale the business over the next few years and how we should be thinking about that?
Yeah. So look, we're still early. Like, we're really early on the journey. We're early on the trends of pets. We're early on return to office. We're early on the humanizations. So for us, we're going to be leaning into growth. And growth for us is, 30 to 40+% year on year continuously. We think we're going to be a compounding business. We're going to be Rule 30 easily. And we want to be profitable while we're doing that. I think when we get to 150, 200, 250 million of revenue, but by the way, we're at, 80 million-ish run rate as of now, or our last quarter, I should say, then we can start thinking more about long-term EBITDA margins. There's a lot to be had. Some of our biggest competitors are somewhere around 20 to 25% EBITDA margins at scale, and that same scale I talked about. So that's probably a pretty good indicator of where we can get. But right now, we're really focused on growing quickly and profitably, right? Which is really hard to do. We got to keep growing at, double-digit year-on-year consistently forever and not burn money while doing it in this environment. It's growth, margin, profit. And I think once we get to real scale, we can think more about EBITDA. But long-term EBITDA margins of 20 to 25% have been already kind of recognized by our biggest, friends who are, not even going to be public anymore. So really for us, just like, we think there's a lot of room to run. If we had 600,000, it was 632,000 platform participants in Q3, that leaves a lot of room to run, considering we think there's 10 to 12 million households. So I just wake up every day excited to get in front of them and start capturing their share of wallet. The other thing to remember, there's a long LTV here, right? These pet parents are going to be pet parents for 11 to 15 years. So the sooner we can get them engaged, the sooner we can get those puppies on the platform, the better, because there's a really long time of spend here.
Great, that's helpful. And then you've announced several acquisitions and perhaps strategic partnerships just over the past year or two. And can you just kind of go over, you mentioned earlier your app frequency usage just for the average consumer, as well as it's probably higher for premium. Just kind of how you're looking to take that ability of the consumer constantly checking in on you each month and how you're thinking about acquisitions.
Yeah, we really like. Yes, you're right. We've been really acquisitive. It's also been a great market to be acquisitive. It's really hard to raise money right now in venture. Really hard to be a surviving company if you're not profitable. We happen to be growing quickly and profitable, which is great. But our strategy has been really simple. We like to find either unique acquisition funnels that are poorly monetized. I mean, they have a large audience. They, for some reason, could not figure out how to monetize effectively, but it's a large, interesting, engaged audience. And we think we can commercialize it better. We can cross-sell it better. We can engage them better. We can convert it better. Or we like to find really high-quality products that we think we can get in front of our audience, right? Our millions of email subscribers and our hundreds of thousands of platform participants every quarter and all that. And I'll give you an example. We bought a company in January of this year called Dog Food Advisor. It is, we think, the best recommendation engine on the web for pet food and treat advice. And we expanded into Cat Food Advisor. We launched a bunch of great partnerships with human-grade pet food companies, kibble companies, cat food companies, treat companies, and that business is phenomenal. It's one of our favorite cross-sell opportunities to get in front of our other audiences, right? And so you'll see us do more of those, either finding unique audiences that are poorly monetized or really high-quality products that we think can get in front of new customers, just because there's really no other buyer. Like, the pet is so interesting. Like, there's a few big companies that we all know of, Chewy, Petco, but there's so many small ones that don't have an obvious, person to take them out. And we become that obvious person because we know how to integrate these assets. We know how to bring on founders. Something like 10+% of our employees are founders now, right? Like, these are amazing, talented, incredible 10Xers. So it's a really special place to build. And I think we're far from done on M&A, especially considering the market.
Great, that's helpful. And then, as the calendar starts to turn to 2024, can you just talk about, maybe take a step back in 2023, what you think the biggest accomplishments were as a company, and then what investors should be thinking about that lies ahead for 2024.
Yeah, what a fun year, huh, Greg? Did you have fun in 2023? I'm gonna look back on this one and be like, that was tough. Look, we feel really fortunate where when we went out in 2022, we thought we were gonna burn something, I'm gonna mess this up, like $15 or $20 million between the point we went out and when we became profitable, EBITDA profitable. And I think we burned something like 5. And we thought we were going to be on a 70 million run rate in Q3 or Q4 even, and we're on 80 plus. So we kind of beat all of our own expectations. And I think that's a function of our strategy. We're in front of the premium pet parent. They're resilient. They have lots of different pet care needs. They have lots of different pet spend needs. They want to spend it with us and our partners and our brands. So that's all actually very validating. And so I think I'm really proud of the fact that we are growing 40% year on year, EBITDA profitably in an environment that's very difficult. For 2024, I don't think the playbook changes. I do think we have a lot more to offer. If you just look at the portfolio of brands and products, the portfolio of brands and services, it's just diverse now. We have cat food advisory, we have dog food advisory, we have petted, we have WAG, we have all these incredible things that people love and count on. And I'm excited to see those compound because a lot of those are still really early in their kind of journey of scale. And again, like I mentioned, we think that, the real scale number is 200 million of revenue probably. And that's our focus, again, 200 million of revenue profitably, and then thinking about the EBITDA kind of lever and we want that to look like. But there's just so much more room to reinvest today.
Great. That's very helpful. And I think, that really kind of brings me to, I guess, one just last final question. As people are looking at your space holistically, in this gig economy, what kind of separates you as people think about 2024 and why should they be thinking about you
guys? Adam, this is caregivers love WAG. I'll tell you that. All right, let me walk you through an example, Greg. So you never delivered for DoorDash, I'm sure, but you should try. It's crazy. If you sign up for DoorDash, and again, I love Tony's business, or you sign up for Uber, it's hard, man. You have to get your car. You have to drive at night because most people want food delivered at 8 o'clock at night in a major city. You have to go figure out parking. You have to run inside while it's still hot. And you got to pick up the food, make sure it's all there. And you have to get back to the person's house. You deliver to the front door. You take a photo. You got to figure out the tips. It's chaos. You don't even control your own pricing. And you do it full time. You're doing it 10 hours at night, right? WAG is the opposite. WAG is a daytime gig. So the busiest time at WAG is while you're at work. So it's 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. It's a delightful experience because you're going outside while no one else is there and you're walking a dog for 20, 30, or 60 minutes, or you're checking in on a cat, or you're doing a training, or you're boarding them for a couple of days. And that dog is by itself. They can't talk to you. You can spend time with a cute little golden doodle, a 2-year-old golden doodle for free. I said, man, I would do that. You don't pay me to do that. So what you end up finding is that the people who are doing the gig are not professionalized supply. It's college age women who want to make a little bit of side money, but just love dogs or grew up with dogs. My dog, Toby's favorite boarder is a Stanford student who has 3 other roommates and they love taking care of Toby. Or it's, active retirees who need to get some steps in outside and don't want to be trapped in a car all day, but don't really need the money and just want to spend time with their neighbors. So we have this incredibly engaged, dynamic, loving caregiver base that just is such a phenomenal community to have. And they don't do it full time. That's the most important part. They do it a few times a month when it's really convenient for them. They're on the go, they're on their phone, they want to take care of the customer, and they set their own rates, and they manage their own schedule, and they manage their own bookings. And they're just an incredible group of people. I love traveling and meeting up with them and hanging out. I love even doing, walkabouts with them. So in terms of gigs, I can't imagine a better gig. We actually have so much supply, so many caregivers that want to join the platform. We have an onboarding fee of $53 on average. I don't know any other platform in the US that has caregivers or supply that wants to pay to join just to do work. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's great. Well, I guess that concludes our call. Thank you for joining us and kind of sharing your story and kind of giving us a good fresh peek on what we should be thinking about in 2024 for WAG.
Thank you, Greg.
Thanks for taking the time. Thanks, Adam. Thanks, Garrett.